Sensei Cisco here for Cincy Martial Arts. And today, in our snapshot video, we'll be taking a look at speed kicks, how we can use our ankle to kick off the ground to create quicker height into a chamber. Now, please bear in mind in these snapshot videos that we will not be stretching, so I hope that you have warmed up before we began. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now first, we have 4 basic kicks. Of course, there is the Maigiri front kick, lifting to a box chamber, square chamber, pressing a straight knee, pressing the ball of the foot before we turn. We then have the axe kick, drawing across the body before rising the foot up and pulling the heel down into the chamber. Think downward strike to hit through a flat surface, like breaking a table in half. We then have our Yokogiri side kick. Here we would draw up and pivot, lifting the kicking hip up to the side while maintaining the knee in front before we press outwards with the heel. And then finally, our Mwashigiri round kick, similar to the side. Now we draw to the box, pivot, only now we're going to keep the knee extended and straighten out the ankle to swing out. Now this is just a quick review of those 4 basic kicks. Now how we get propelled into those is what we'll be talking about today. So let's go ahead and drop our view down so we can take a closer look at the leg work and how our feet are going to help lift to that box chamber. Now, we've just dropped down. So now that we're at a lower angle, we can take a look at our feet. When we're standing, first, we want to make sure we're in a good fighting position. This means if you have a ladder box drawn, you can put a back foot on one corner and your front foot on the opposite corner. In essence, we're looking at shoulder width apart and shoulder width apart to create our space. From here, I'm going to bend my knees slightly. If you don't have a ladder, you can check this by dropping your back knee, and if it just comes in alignment with your front heel, you're set to go. Now, once we have this position in a relaxed knee, meaning my front shin is flat. Change my angle here. You can see the shin is perfectly vertical. This makes sure that my knee is bent to the front and it can't be blasted through by an opponent. Again, a good stance is your first protection. Now from here, in order to get our lift, what we're going to do is kind of press off from the toes. We can experiment with this by first standing on our tiptoes and trying to jump with our toes. So try and jump from this position. Doesn't work too well. Trying to just use your toes to push off the ground, it's hard to get a lot of energy. But if we start from our heels down and then lift the heels, no knees, and just pop, here we can get a bit of a rise. If we add the knees to it, for knees and ankles, that's when we're getting our big lift. Conversely, if we take just the knees, lay your weight back on your heels. No toes, and just push your heels into the ground. You'll lift, but not by much, and you end up kind of coming down hard on the floor. So the ankle really helps in creating that upward propulsion. This is the same principle we're going to use for the lift into our chamber. So, from our fighting position, depending on the kick we're going to do, we're going to lean our weight to one side or the other. And we don't want to telegraph this to our opponent. So typically, our kicks are going to come off of another combination. Maybe I throw a jab cross. On my cross, my weight is already on the front leg, so I can lift the back without telegraphing the motion. Conversely, if they attack in and I draw back to a cat stance, or I'm set in a rear guard, I can lift the front knee, again, without telegraphing my motion. So now we've got all these bases covered. Now how in the wind, how are we standing? Let's finally put the ankles to work. What I'd like us to do is we're going to start with the front leg. So I want you to kind of lean your weight onto the back foot as though you're going to a cat stance. Now you don't have to use a full traditional cat stance for this, but rather set your weight back, then take your front foot and kind of using your toe like we jumped earlier with the heel and toe, but only do it on the front foot. So that your toes and ankle are pushing into the ground to create a little bounce. Now let's just start bouncing. As soon as your foot touches the ground, don't let your heel completely press. Let it flex down. So we have this 90-degree angle, and then push it straight. 90, 180, 90, 180. Corner, straight line. Corner line, straight line. And here we can get our knee to bounce up about to the mid-thigh of the other foot. At the precipice, the high point, that's when I'm going to engage my hip to pull the knee the rest of the way. So now I can pop and pull, pop and pull, pop and pull. Experiment with this. Try and use just your hip. No toes, just pull from the hip. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm noticing my stomach is crunching in a little bit. So if you watch closely, my body's kind of crunching like I'm doing a sit-up or a V-up. However, if I just use the toes and give this little pop first, and then pull, notice now how my leg can come up just as fast, if not faster, but I'm not waving, I'm not crunching. With my toe pressing, my knee can come up mostly, and then I just use a little bit of the hip strength to fully pull that chamber. Let's try that 10 times. Hitch, knee, sun, sheep. Keep your weight back and press with your toes. Go, roko, sichi, hachi, ku, ju. Excellent. Now we can try the same thing on the back. Here, if I pull my pant leg back, you can see my shin creates another 90-degree angle with the foot, just like the front foot did. The only change is I'm now tilting this forward. It's still 90 degrees, because what we're really concerned about here is the angle the foot has to the leg. Now, if I do the same sort of hop, using the ankle to flex and push me forward, it can draw that knee to the front. Let's start bouncing. 90, straight, 90, 180, 90, 180. And we're kind of pushing off the floor here. And again, just like we did on the front, where we're pushing and then pulling from the hip, when our knee comes forward, we can pull from the hip and draw it up, but without causing the V-up bend of our upper body. So we can pop and lift, pop and lift. Let's try it all out. Hitch, knee, sun, sheep, go, roko, push off the floor, sichi, hachi, ku, ju. Excellent. Then all we do is, once we have that foot up, we can extend the kick from the chamber. So the speed we're looking at here is increasing the time, or I should say decreasing the time it takes from the foot to leave the ground to pull to a chamber. Once we have that chamber, we can shoot whichever kick we like. Maigiri, axe, side, round, doesn't matter, they can all pull from here. Same thing with the front. I can sit back, pop up, snap the front kick. Pop up, snap the axe kick. Pop up, shoot a side kick. Pop up, shoot a round kick. Because now our ankle is creating a lot of that starting velocity. So let's go ahead and rise back up to the top and see about putting these kicks in with the pop of the ankle. Join me up top. All right, now that we're up top, let's take a look at these extensions and how we can pop off the kick. Let's do each kick on both legs, both the front side and the back side, 10 times, giving yourself plenty of time to move through these and get a strong feel for them. And what we're looking for here is speed. So when your foot comes down, we're only going to touch the floor for a moment before kicking back up. Think bounce. if you stomp on the ground, this is sort of the idea, because we're going to be hitting the floor to push off of the floor. So we want to really get a good rebound. Just like if we're jumping, we land and hit the floor, but we're not stomping on the floor. All right, let's try it with the front leg first on front kick. So we're going to lean our weight back. Let's say we just dodged an attack, or we're setting a rear guard, so we can open up that front leg, and itch, knee, sun, chi, go, rook, sit, hachi, kyu, chu. Back leg, lean your weight forward, heel up so that you can push off the rear. Itch, knee, sun, chi, go, rook, sit, hachi, kyu, chu. And as you come out, that fast, push and snap, letting the muscles flow from press to chamber to extension, back to chamber and return. 5 positions in rapid succession. Let's try now with our axe kick. Again, popping off the front so we can lift, kind of pushing off to the corner and flicking it through. Ready? Itch, knee, sun, chi, go, roku, sit, hachi, kyu, chu. Rear leg, set your weight forward so that you can get that ankle to press off the ground. Itch, knee, sun, chi, go, roku, sit, hachi, kyu, chu. Looking good. Now, getting a sweat from here is good. This is a cardiovascular exercise, so your heart's going to be moving. Your body is working. Let's move to side kick. Now for the side kick, especially with the front angle, when we draw up, we're not just going to draw to the front and then pivot. Instead, I'm going to preset my turn. My weight is still going to sit on the back, but I'm going to lean so I can push and draw my knee here to the belt knot, just like I would with a front angle, my giri. Now I'm going to side angle so I can pull and push. Pull, kicking off the ground to get that knee up, and then extend from your glutes to push the heel. Ready? Lean your weight back and itch, knee, sun, chi, go, roku, sit, hachi, kyu, chu. From the back leg, here, we're gonna want a full pivot. So, taking from that running position, I sort of just threw across. So my back foot is on the 90 degrees. Here I do need a full pivot. A back kick will have a pivot, especially if you're going to a side angle. Yokogiri, Mwashigiri, hook kick. All of these things have that pivot. So we're going to press up to the square and then pull the hip through to line up. Ready? Set your weight on the front and itch, knee, sun, chi, go, roku, sichi, hachi, kyu, chu. Excellent. Last one, round kick. Again, preset your turn, setting your weight back so that you can push off. Only for the round kick, instead of drawing my knee in, I'm going to kick up to lift my knee to this front side. So I'm going to use a little more of the side of my hip here rather than the front of my hip to draw the knee. So I can kick the ankle, lift the hip, and slap. Let's try it out. Set your weight back and itch, knee, sun, chi, go, roku, sichi, hachi, kyu, chu. Rear leg with the pivot. Get your guard up, back foot angled, draw to the square, and then turn the hip for your extension. Itch, knee, sun, chi, go, roku, sichi, hachi, kyu, chu. So, at this point, I've got a good sweat going. This is a fair amount of work. If you're not sweating, if you don't feel your heart rate moving, then you're not applying yourself. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. Everything we just did should be more than enough to get your heart rate moving. So, continue to practice. Think about how your feet are positioned to get that faster press in lifting your chamber for a quick kick delivery. All right, thank you all for joining us. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like button, as this does inform us of how we're doing, and if this is content that is beneficial to you. And of course, hit the bell to stay notified for whenever we upload new content. But that'll do it for this episode of Snapshot Karate and Arigato gozaimasu. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.